What happens when the leader of a global superpower points his finger at a nation he barely understands and that nation decides not to bow? What the external world is reacting and saying about happenings in Nigeria is only a tiny fraction of what truly exists. There are hidden facts and entire realities wrapped around these issues. So maybe the real question isn't about Christian genocides and Muslim attacking, but how much we are blind to. Today, I want to talk about Nigeria, our sovereignty, our internal challenges, and why we must take these issues of security seriously. I mean, far more serious than any comments from a foreign politician, including President Donald Trump of the United States of America. In recent days, the world witnessed an unusual moment. Nigeria pushing back against comments made by the United States of America President Donald Trump. He spoke of a Christian genocide in Nigeria and went further to say they might be considering a military intervention, painting a picture that fits neatly into an American political narrative, but misses the entire complexity of our national reality. Now, this type of oversimplification is not new. For decades, American commentary on African issues has carried a certain confidence, sometimes well-intentioned, but often misinformed. But something different is happening now. Nigerians are saying, you don't get to define us. You don't get to reduce our complexity into just a tweet or a soundbite, and that matters. Not because Donald Trump made the comment, but because it exposes how foreign voices misunderstand Nigeria's layered challenges. Nigeria is not the same country it was 30 years ago. Today, with a population of over 230 million people, enormous oil and gas reserves, and increasing geopolitical importance, Nigeria sits at the center of a global competition between great powers, particularly China and the United States. And Nigeria's refusal to accept external pressure without question reflects a broader awakening across Africa. For too long, Western governments offered solutions that ultimately expand dependency. Structural adjustment programs weakened our industries. Security partnerships were designed around American priorities, not Nigerian realities. Promises of development really match the realities and results on ground. So when President Donald Trump made sweeping claims about Nigeria's internal conflict, Nigeria's reaction was calm, firm, and clear. Our sovereignty is not up for negotiations. Our challenges are not your political props. This moment on its own is bigger than President Donald Trump's comment. It symbolizes a world where the old patterns of Western dominance is fading and the new powers are rising. China, for example, did not arrive in Africa with lectures. It arrived with railways, refineries, ports, and digital infrastructure. Every Nigerian can point to at least one project touched by Chinese investment, while many Western partners spent decades offering feasibility studies and conditional loans. The narratives have changed today. Nigeria has choices now. Nigeria has alternatives, and that gives Nigeria a new voice in global diplomacy, one that refuses to be intimidated. This is why Nigeria stands at the United Nations, including abstention to the controversial global vote, caused such a stir. It showed independence. It showed principle. It showed that Nigeria will not automatically align with any global power whose actions do not align with its values and interests. But here is where the conversation comes home. Nigeria's boldness on the world stage means nothing if insecurity continues to undermine our internal strength. We face violent extremism in the northeast of Nigeria, banditry and mass kidnappings in the northwest, farmer-herder clashes in the middle belt, separatist tension in the southeast, oil theft and environmental insecurity in the Niger Delta, and also criminal networks spreading nationwide. These are the parts that foreign politicians do not understand. This is the part that no tweet can capture. This is the reality that Nigeria must confront. not as geopolitical pawn, but as a sovereign nation fighting for the safety of its own people. Foreign powers often misinterpret our challenges because they view them through their own strategic interest. United States security assistance has often focused on military force while ignoring unemployment, education, and development, the root cause of many conflicts. So when President Donald Trump or any foreign leader speaks casually about genocide or intervention, Nigeria must ask them, do they understand our history? Do they know our ethnic complexity? And do they understand or have grasped the local cause of this violence? And do they know what ordinary Nigerians are experiencing daily? The truth is, foreign commentary rarely captures even 10% of the reality on ground. But honestly, it is high time Nigeria took insecurity seriously, because foreign powers will always prioritize their own interest. I mean, always. History shows us that when diplomacy fails, powerful nations exploit internal divisions. We've seen it in Libya, Iraq, Sudan, and Syria. Nigeria cannot afford to become another example on that list. But something remarkable is happening here. Civic society is waking up, youth's voice are rising, scholars, journalists, and activists are embracing post-colonial thinking, demanding a Nigeria that stands with dignity and independence. With this awakening comes a responsibility. We cannot depend on America. We cannot depend on China. And we cannot afford to depend on Europe. We must depend on ourselves. We must solve our insecurity crisis, because it is the foundation of everything else. Our economy, our democracy, our unity, and our global influence. So the way Nigeria has responded to US pressure reveals a nation stepping boldly into a multipolar world, not through hostility, but through self-respect. But sovereignty is not just external, it must be internal too. Our governments must prioritize security beyond rhetoric. Our institutions must strengthen intelligence gathering, policing, and community participation. We must reduce poverty, expand education, and build industries that provide real opportunities, because the alternative, continued insecurity, is not just a national threat, it is an invitation for foreign interference. And this is the crossroad that Nigeria stands today. So if President Donald Trump's statement of a purported Christian genocide in Nigeria will touch the Nigerian leadership rightly and make them brace up to tackle the insecurity all across the country, then I will say this call is for good. And for Nigerians, the path forward is challenging but meaningful. This stance is not based on hostility towards America, but the demand for respect, fairness, and true partnership. The world is watching. The test before America is simple. Will it respond with an outdated coercion or embrace a future built on equality and mutual respect? Nigeria today stands at the frontier of a new era, one where nations rise not through obedience but through confident sovereignty. Africa must be ready. How America responds will determine not only its global power, but its moral legacy. And for those that do not agree with some of the points I made in this video, please be kind enough to give a constructive feedback on what and how this should be looked at from your own point of view. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.